and Randy Moss, without even really being able to run as he shoots the moon to the
pass, pumps to the left, 8 seconds left. He gets away from the pressure, fires to the end zone. It's caught! It's Greg Lewis! Oh my heavens! Greg Lewis's first catch has given the Minnesota...
Four, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another episode of House Calls with Skoldoc, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. Here, as always, is Dave, and we have a big game today. Dave, are you ready?
Yes, I am. The King of the North will come out of this. Hopefully, it's us, and then we all we have to do is just play our scrubs the last game of the year because we'll be undefeated.
Absolutely, this game is
last game in Detroit. That's how I got it. Yeah,
yep.
17-0.
This is a big swing game, not only for the NFC North but for the NFC Conference. This is a big game. If the Vikings win this game, they have a 70% chance to win the division. If they lose this game, that drops to about 40%. So a 30% swing is huge. And of course, if they lose this game, they're still in great position. Who expected us to be 5-0 at this point anyways? But if they are able to pull out this win today against the Detroit Lions, it will be huge for the Minnesota Vikings and their aspirations to not only make the playoffs, but make a deep playoff run. Because if you're going to win a Super Bowl, there's a couple things that we see routinely from Super Bowl winning teams. Number one, they typically win about 12 games on average throughout the season. And number two, they're a first or second seed, usually. Very rare that the lower seeds win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, in all seriousness, it's not too often you get a game of this magnitude this early in the season with two teams that could just change the lead, and one of them being 5-0, the other one 4-1, and can take us by the tiebreaker. So it's not often you get to see that this early in the season. Now, I know everybody's worried about their offense, and we'll talk about that. But defensive rankings of the teams they played compared to the teams we played are drastically different. I'll talk about that later.
100%. Totally agree with you there. Yeah, it's just an exciting matchup. Like you said, I mean, two great teams, probably consensus top 5 teams right now in the NFL going at it in October. This in the history of these franchises, the Lions and the Vikings have not been this good in their years in the NFL. So this is the most anticipated Vikings-Lions game to date, and both fan bases are fired up. Both fan bases are, very confident going into this game. I do feel good that this game is in Minnesota. We'll pick the game later, but I like that this game is in Minnesota and that we have the chance to get that first win because, like you said, that last game being Week 18, there's more circumstances there where you may be resting starters and whatnot. So to get the win at home early in the season, to put yourself 2 games up in the division would just be a massive statement win. And that stadium's going to be rocking today. Yeah,
it's one of the big and most impressive things about this season. I haven't felt like this has been a big home field advantage. Well, we had the COVID year, and then we had the first year back. Early on, people sold their seats to the San Francisco game because they didn't think we were going to be any good. But that changed, and now this is turned out to be home field advantage. And some will say we haven't had that advantage since we went indoors, but that's not true. We've been raucous crowds and getting people, and we've been great about getting people off sides or jumping. I mean, and it's really helped us in situations, and that may be the case with this game. I don't think Detroit is going to travel as well as what San Francisco did because we just because we're 5-0 now, and people are wanting to. Viking fans are going to the games, and I don't see that. I don't see too much Honolulu blue being in those stands today.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that the Vikings fan base will dominate the attendance, and we're going to have a real loud environment. And going back to Jared Goff and his performance at US Bank Stadium, he's only thrown 2 touchdowns at US Bank Stadium. So it's a
It's
tough
Jared
place.
proof.
It's a tough place to play for any quarterback. Now he's been there before; he knows what to expect. But it's going to be a tough environment for him tomorrow as well. So let's jump into a little bit of a preview here. Let's preview the Minnesota Vikings offense first. And Aaron Jones is questionable to play, but all signs are showing that he's probably going to play. I don't think they'd play him if he was not close to 100%. So I would expect his workload to be pretty much normal. They brought Cam Akers in. He'll probably be a running back too, and then sprinkle Ty Chandler in there just a little bit here and there. But this offense, in my opinion, runs completely differently when Aaron Jones is in the game. Not only from an efficiency standpoint when he's running the ball between the tackles, which I don't think Ty Chandler remotely resembles, the skill set that Aaron Jones has running between the tackles. But Aaron Jones also brings the play action game alive because defenses have to respect Aaron Jones. And not only that, but you have the screen game too that just looks completely different when Aaron Jones is in the game. So I think Aaron Jones is a huge boost to this offense. And quite frankly, gives that Vikings offense just becomes much more dangerous for the Lions to respect. And it's going to open things up for Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
Now, I do feel like, and I think it has been the fact that if Ty Chandler gets better, the more carries he gets throughout the game. Because, like, when he did get that 80-yard game, we leaned on him quite a bit in the previous years. Once he started being the main running back, he started to pop off. I do think that's good, but Aaron Jones is good no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
He's good whole game. Give him 5 carries, give him 10 carries, give him 20 carries. He's going to be good the whole game. So that being said, I do like Cam Akers and being added to this team because he is an all-around back. He's not as exciting as Aaron Jones, but the guy has been playing good outside of playing us, and when Texans just abandoned the run against us. Outside of playing us, he's like 4.5 yards per carry. And then he's a great blocker, a good receiver, and he's just an all-around back. So I'm glad he's on the roster just in case Aaron Jones goes down. Now, going against that Lions defense we recently had, Micro Mike, he feels like that's their strength. Playing a defense against the run, he thinks that's their strength. The corners are grabby, which is great for us because we're the purple Kansas City or the purple Chiefs in the NFC, where we're getting a lot of calls on pass interference, holding legal contact downfield with Justin Jefferson out there. So it's honestly a pretty damn good matchup, especially with Aiden Hutchinson being out.
Yeah, I think, and you just said it. I mean, that's the biggest factor. Aiden Hutchinson was playing like the defensive player of the year in the NFL. He was leading that race. He had the most NFL pressures.
Yeah, he's hands down.
And the next player on their roster, I think, has 17 pressures. So he was generating most of their pressure. Now, they're going to have to figure out a way to generate pressure on Sam Darnold. Otherwise, Sam Darnold will pick them apart today. So we'll see if the Lions blitz a little bit more. We probably are catching them at a very good time in terms of just the way that they're going to call a defense. If they try to play the same game that they played by rushing 4, I don't think it's going to work out for them very well. I think our offensive line will dominate their front 4. They're going to have to try to bring pressure to get to Sam Darnold. And because of that, I do think that the Vikings have a great matchup in terms of their pass offense against the Lions' pass defense. Now, you have to watch out for a couple of their players. Brian Branch has been playing great football. He will intercept the football. And then Kirby Joseph, as much as I don't respect that guy for the way that he went after TJ Hawkinson's knee. Now, part of that is making a football play, right? You got to go low on big guys. But the way that he didn't have his eyes up look
Yeah,
what
he
he's
didn't
hitting.
have his eyes up.
He
That's the
dove at
big
his
thing.
knee, and you know what? I was like, listen, this kind of thing happens in football. I actually defended Kirby Joseph at the time, but then to come out, was it the next? I think it was like the next week after that, and he took out Tyler Higbee's knee, the same exact play. I was like, okay, this guy is literally just out there hunting knees. It's a pattern, yeah.
I forgot that happened after us, not before us.
It was right after, yeah. And so Danny Campbell came out and says, listen, we're coaching the guy. We're telling him you have to see what you're hitting type of thing. So it's not like, that they're endorsing those kind of hits. But those are two players we're going to have to watch out for. I do expect a big day for Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison. I think we're going to see a lot of yards to the air. And as you said, that defense is grabby. I think we're going to see a lot of defensive penalty yards too. Maybe a couple deep bombs that you get some pass interference on puts us in scoring position.
And what a better time, to play them at home and with that situation where we could take a 2-game lead and them having problems, and it's a home game. So yeah, it does feel like the offensive side of the ball for us should have a really good day of getting downfield. Who knows? Maybe and we'll talk about over-unders later. It may cut into our passing yards because we're getting chunks with penalties. So
Yeah,
you
that's a
and
good
I
point.
may have it wrong, but hey, it feels like we got two. We either going to have a really good day passing, or we're going to be moving the ball with penalties. I really feel either way is great, and the way that Justin Jefferson kills the Lions is awesome. So, are you frozen, Skull, Doc? So this is what. Hey, Skull Doc, if you gotta come back in, that's fine. I don't know if you can hear me. Now, a couple things why Skulldog gets unfrozen. We got the injury report. We got Blake Cashman out. We got a Caleb Evans out. I think it was reported. It's not on the website yet, but Dalton Reisner and TJ Hawkinson out. So any thought of him replacing Ed Ingram, not going to happen. Let's see here. Let me go kick him out here. Okay, so sorry about that malfunction there. Hopefully he's able to come back in. This is his show. We got Dalton Reisner. He's not going to be replacing that Ingram. We got in TJ Hawkinson. It's good that he's not necessarily coming back because Kirby Joseph was the exact same guy that hurt him the last time. Now the Patrick Jones II questionable with the shoulder. Aaron Jones, hamstring questionable. Harrison Phillips questionable. That's with his shoulder. You got Josh Oliver, unspecified wrist. His game status is just unspecified according to this. Gilmore, he did not practice, and Harrison Smith did not practice. It looks like these two guys were rested all week. Hey, Skull Doc, I just went through the Vikings injury report. Couple thoughts here. You won't see Dalton Reisner replacing Ed Ingram anytime soon. Well, at least this week. Who knows? TJ Hawkinson, they did report he was out. Stephon Gilmore and Harrison Smith, they just resting them, it looks like. Just rest them all week. And which is, they're coming off a bye, so they're not practicing. I guess it give them a lot more rest before this game because they'll play Thursday.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, I had some internet issues there. Sorry about that. Hopefully it's solved now.
Yeah, everybody's mad at you now. Okay.
So where were we? We were talking about offense.
Well, we're finishing up with penalties, and this could be a really big game either way, penalties or yards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I expect, like we talked about, I expect the Vikings to get some big chunks through the air just with the Lions being grabby. They play a lot of man coverage. You look at Justin Jefferson's receiving yards in his last several games against the Lions. He's easily hit the over. Now, this over is at 92 yards for this game, but he thrives against man coverage. You cannot guard Justin Jefferson man-to-man. And they don't seem to want to switch up what they're doing. So expect another big day for Justin tomorrow.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. I guess you're right in that aspect that, hey, these guys might not specifically target Jefferson like you see other teams do. I don't think they're as talented as the Jets corners, but and then definitely they're grabby. So we can take advantage of that all day. What other receiver or tight end or running back do you think is going to have a big day in the air outside of outside of Justin Jefferson?
I think Addison just immediately comes to mind. Again, against man coverage, he's a great route runner. I think he's going to get open. I think his over/under was set at about 50 yards. And Jordan Addison's average depth of target is 17 yards right now. So if he just gets a couple catches, he's already there.
I think it's the same way he's scored the last two times he's played against, two games he played against the Packers. That stutter seam move that he has, if they're one high safety and they're shading to Justin Jefferson, this guy's a easy touchdown, waiting to happen. And I think I put him as my biggest guy too. But I have a sneaky suspicion Johnny Munt, who is our number one tight end, apparently. Now he went from best third tight end in the league to our number one until TJ Hawkinson comes back. I think he'll have a sneaky good day. He's been very reliable this year. I don't think he's been pretty he's been inconsistent in the past couple of years, but I think he's developing really nice in this system, and I think he's more confident. He hasn't been making mistakes. He hasn't been dropping balls. Knock on pressed particle wood, but I think he's going to have a sneaky good day.
Yeah, for sure. I would expect Kevin O'Connell to run a trick play or two this game as well. Seems like he's been saving some of that stuff for the divisional games.
We haven't done nothing, right?
Yeah. You know, that screen pass, they like to throw it to the left and then throw back to the right across the field. I feel like we might see that beautiful play today. We'll take a look, but I think he's got something in his bag.
You know, and we've been pretty good with fake punts in the past. I don't think we do it at our own field, our own side of the field, like the Lions do. But I wouldn't mind seeing us midfield doing that. But it is more of a surprise if you do it in your own field. But we'll see about that. Offensively, I think I don't know if we're going to run as good, but the passing game should be there. And I think our running backs will have good days, potentially, collectively. Not necessarily one guy is going to bust for 50, 80 yards, but I think collectively they're going to have a good day receiving.
Yep. Well, let's shift focus here. Let's talk about the Vikings defense against the Lions offense. And this is obviously the Goliath matchup here, right? Like you have DVOA number 1 against DVOA number 1. The best defense in the league against the best offense in the league. Now, the Vikings superpower here is that it is at home. They're going to feed off the energy of the crowd, and we're going to use that crowd noise to our benefit. The Lions are going to come out, and they're going to try to run the ball and take the crowd out of it and make this death by 1,000 cuts, right? Now, the Lions are the number 1 team in the NFL in terms of first down and second down success rate. And that's where the Vikings have been dominant this year, is they force people into third and long to where Brian Flores can come up with these exotic looks and get you off the field, if not turn that football over. If the Lions are running the ball for 5 yards a pop on first and second down, it's game over. That's where this game lies. That's the key to this football game, is they have to limit the Lions' success rate on first down to get the defense into advantageous situations to get Goff and that offense off the field.
One of the things, and we'll talk about that, is that defensive rankings, they played the Rams, which was 31st against EPA per play. Buccaneers, this is them playing defenses. Buccaneers were 16th, Cardinals were 28th, Seahawks were 18th, Cowboys were 27th. We're number 1. Giants, we played the Giants, so we're 17th. 49ers 13th, Texans 8th, Packers 7th, Jets 11th. We played much more stingy defenses than these guys, so they might be up there with empty calories. I do think they're still one of the best offenses in the league, and the more they lean on that run game, or offensively, the more they lean on that run game. And now we're talking about defenses, but I didn't bring that up earlier. But more they lean on that run game, it's our strength. That's our strength right now is stopping the run. We're second in the league, so
Right.
strength on strength.
And some of that being second in the league is because we have the
People
most
pass
pass
on us.
attempts because we're winning the whole time. We've
Winning.
only been down for 3 minutes all season, but the counter argument to that is that the yards per carry is still quite low. I think
Pretty
that's
low.
one of the best in the NFL at like 3.6 yards per carry. So yes, we've been good against the run. There's been one team that I would say is like top echelon in the NFL in terms of being able to run the football, and that's the Niners. And George Mason did have 100 yards against this defense, and they had success running the football during that game. Now, they did get down in that game, had to throw the ball. So they probably could have had a little bit more if the game script called for that. So by no means am I expecting the Vikings to just shut down the Lions offense running game tomorrow and make it look easy. I don't have any illusions about that. I think that they're going to have their wins, and I think the Vikings will have their wins, right? It'll be a slugfest back and forth. But it's absolutely huge. You're right on the money. And I agree with you about that Lions offense. Like, obviously, they are elite. They have probably the best offensive line in football. They have great weapons. They have a great offensive coordinator. Jared Goff works. He's a phenomenal quarterback when he's kept clean. He's below average when he's pressured. So that's going to be a point of emphasis for the Vikings defense. By the way, the Vikings defense is the number one defense in the NFL in terms of applying pressure on the quarterback. So we have that going for us. Jared Goff is good against the blitz, and we do blitz more than any other team in the NFL. So that'll be something that's worth watching in terms of how is Flores able to pressure Goff with this fabulous offensive line that they have, but at the same time, not become vulnerable to the point where Goff is hitting Jameson Williams for a 60-yard touchdown because he found a zone behind a blitz. You know what I mean?
And one of the things I broke down with Johnny NFL, my last video, was, well, Johnny NFL was breaking down the fact that we hide this double, too deep safety, in various different ways to make it harder to tell who's coming, who is playing the deep middle, if it's a linebacker dropping or a safety coming up and dropping a safety from we have Harrison Smith at the line of scrimmage and he's dropping back to too deep safety. It's coming from everywhere. Mm-hmm. So we're hiding the fact, and that's a big trend in the league is too deep safety, keeping everything in front of you. But we just disguise it so well that I feel like they'll be adverse to making big plays against us. They do spread the ball around. There hasn't been one standout offensive player. Really, it's been spread out. We have a Micro Mike on here. He's talking about it. Laporta, their tight end isn't having a great year. People are pissed off that he's not even a top 15 tight end right now in the league. Then they were pretty excited about him, and that doesn't mean he's not. Maybe teams are taking him away right now, but they do spread the ball around. There's a lot of players that can hurt us. I'm kind of hoping that Amon St. Brown is just having a bad, he's I don't know. Maybe he's getting worse. I don't know. I hope so. But the emergence of Jameson Williams is starting to become a solid player for them, a dangerous weapon. So again, that's helped out the whole overall look and the fact that you got two really good running backs. Yeah, I'm a little on the jealous side of the fact that they got depth there that we may not have.
Yeah, David Montgomery's been their best player so far this year.
6 touchdowns.
He's been great. Now, of course, the offensive line is paving absolute lanes for him, so that's going to be a challenge.
We can't have cornerbacks making tackles or deep safeties making tackles. We gotta get him at the line of scrimmage, which is something we've been good at. Making contact before 2 yards.
Exactly. Penetration kills the run game. The Vikings are going to have to find ways to get penetration. Ivan Pace is excellent at that. Mm-hmm. the issue with the Lions the last 2 weeks playing some of the defensive they played in Seattle and the Cowboys is that David Montgomery's not getting touched until 9 yards downfield, right? That cannot happen. He's got to be touched at the line of scrimmage every single play, right? He
And
can
I
fall
think of the
forward
way
for
we
2 or 3.
disguise our defense. I mean, we were playing like 3 linemen on the right side of the ball, and we have nobody on the left. I'm like, these crazy defenses that defensive fronts he's putting out there, you just don't know where it's going to come from. And I think that really helps us.
Yeah. Now, the Blake Cashman being out does worry me a little bit because he's been fantastic for this defense, not only a tackling machine, but has made positive plays in the passing game as well, getting his hand on some balls over the middle. But he's the green dot guy. He's making that final check, right? And this is a huge check defense. The way that this defense operates is they call a play, they look at what the offense is in, they look at what most likely the offensive protection plan is going to be, and then they make a final check before the snap of the football, and they are able to generate pressure because they can have the final check. And a lot of that is going through Blake Cashman. It's not like Brian Flores is in the mic saying, hey, let's do this. It's just Blake Cashman saying, hey, we got 3-on-2 on this side of the line. We're blitzing this right side. Let's go. And they communicate that, and then they go. So that's going to be on Ivan Pace today. Now, Ivan Pace is going to have to be that guy to step up and be a leader and make those calls.
Now, Ivan Pace is definitely a step down in the pass defense. But I made this sneaky observation, I think, is Dallas Turner is actually pretty good at it. And even though we don't play the same position, but the way Flores just uses different personnel, he could be sneaky good against a tight end, I think, and maybe take that kind of pressure off Ivan Pace. But we'll see how it lines up, how much playing time Dallas Turner gets. I think he's in the good graces with Brian Flores, and back off, his injuries weight, the injury week that he had, he's far away from that. I sneakily like him and Camus. How do you say it? Cruje Hill?
Kame Grugier Hill.
Grugier Hill. Yeah. So, and he's been a a nice little light that we got, out of free agency. So, I love the fact that we had depth this year. It does hurt to have Cashman out because he has been just all around flows of the ball, and that's our whole defense has been flowing to the ball, and and it really hurts in the passing game for sure with him out because he has been just a magnet. I mean, against San Francisco, he just was all over the field.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, that's the matchup, man. The name of the game tomorrow is affecting Jared Goff, getting people in his face, pressuring Jared Goff, and it's not going to be easy against that offensive line. But I trust that Brian Flores is going to come up with a plan at home to get that done. Now, in order to get to that point, we need to stop the run on first and second down. So we're going to know early on in this ball game if the Vikings brought their big boy pants to stop that run game. Because if it's, if they go down first drive, Lions against this Vikings defense, and they're just running the ball 5-6 yards a pop, it could be a long day for us.
One of the things I like now is we could bring in an overload off the edge and overwhelm them and leave a Gilmore out there on an island. And it was something we really haven't been able to do. So I do feel like, again, he's got more tools in his belt. I do like the fact that, we're either, I've seen it to where it looks like Harrison Smith's going to blitz all the way from off the edge, all the way from being on the line to jump, like I said, back to, two deep safety. It's so crazy, but I like the fact that I think we can, weak side or strong side, bring people and keep and not worry about it, our corner being on an island, especially when we have a safety back there all the time. But I'm just so happy about the amount of variety we can bring with this defense that we just didn't have. It's a night and day difference, even from last year. We got the personnel, and there's guys like Tillery and you know, you know, Bullard he's still playing, but Pat Jones stepping up. He's questionable. So is Harrison Phillips. little worried about that. But hey, it's just next man up mentality has been working pretty good for this team.
100%. Should we get into our pick six?
Oh yeah, sure. I don't have an. I need to get a song for that. There we go.
Oh,
So Will Reichard, we brought him back for this one, and of course we both picked the over.
yeah. I mean, this is one of those games where, like we were talking about the defensive penalties, I could see the Vikings getting the field goal range a couple of times today through the long defensive pass interference call and let Will the Thrill, take a 40 to 50-yard shot at it and get a couple of those, get some points on the board.
Yeah, I mean 1.5. We always pick the over when we have him on there, but because the unknown about the running game, we replaced that this week. Justin Jefferson. Now this one it has grown and grown and grown. Every week it's a little bit higher. They jumped that son of a bitch up to 94.5. I think probably because of who he's playing
Yeah.
and how he's done in the past, and it's at home. What were your thoughts with Justin Jefferson?
Well, it's a high number, right? But he's the best wide receiver in football, and he usually kills the Lions. He could go for 150 tomorrow, or you know what I mean? Like he could blow
He
up.
could go for 150 and then have 50 and 100 yards of pass interference penalties.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Is he could just the Jets game? He didn't have that many yards.
Jets game, but he had
150 in penalty yards that game. So I'm going to bet it on Justin Jefferson at home against the Lions. I think he's going to eat.
I think in here with Jordan Addison, it was 50.5. Again, he's as grown every week too.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just really expecting us to throw the ball a lot and not rely on the run too much, at least in Vegas. But you and I both have talked about Jordan Addison being like a really a standout player in this game, and I feel like the pressure will be put on Jefferson, like defensive, lean his way, and anytime they go single high safety, this guy's got a chance to go into the house on a double move or a stutter move, and so that's why I think he'll break a long run, have an easy 50-yard game.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. He's going to feast on a lot of single man coverage when they're drawing a safety over to Justin Jefferson, and he's just got to beat one guy, and I think he's going to do it. I think the KOC is going to draw up a few more plays for him this week than maybe what we saw for the Jets game. And again, it's at home, so I think he's going to crush that 50-yard total.
And then recently dubbed Sonic and Knuckles, Montgomery and Gibbs, together, they each were 50.5. I decided, well, let's just put them together at 101. You and I both picked the over. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just think that the Lions' identity this game, they're going to want to run the football and take the noise out of this crowd. The best way to do that is to run the ball. And I think that's probably their best bet to beat this Flores defense is try to run the ball as much as they can. I think that Montgomery is going to crush his 50-yard rushing output. Gibbs is probably going to be a little bit closer to that 50 yards, but together I think they clear the 100-yard mark. We talked a little bit earlier about how the Niners were able to clear the 100-yard mark, and I think the Lions run the ball better than the 49ers do. So I do think they're going to clear that mark.
My hope is that we eliminate the big play, that this is more of a counting stat for them, 30-some carries. They just get, they average, 4 yards a carry. They get their 100 yards. We get the victory. That's what I'm hoping. That's what San Francisco was like. They got a lot of carries, got 90, got 100 yards, but he had a lot of carries. I feel like hopefully it's the same way with this. Obviously Gibbs is the one that'll break off, but Montgomery has been breaking tackles and busting noses. I don't want to see it. I don't want to get them close to the goal line. But they've been solid, and they got the nickname Sonic and Knuckles recently. Now moving on, Sam Darnold. What's your thoughts here?
I just think that the game script is going to call for the Vikings to throw the ball a lot. And You mentioned earlier he may hit the under if he gets a lot of penalty yardage and doesn't complete that ball. But I think, we called the over on Justin going over 100 yards. We called the over on Addison getting over 50 yards. I think that's all going to add up. And I think that this game is shaping up for Sam Darnold to look very good, have a 300-yard day, 3 to 4 touchdowns, and look like an absolute stud with a Vikings win.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin O'Connell does like to throw the ball at the goal line. So yeah, he could easily get 3-4 touchdowns that way. And I did say that, hey, a lot of penalty yards could just erase it. Him get the under, and we win either way, and we're both happy. But you can't really count on penalty yards. So yeah, I think the game plan would attribute to this. Now, Lions are going to get 70 plays a game. We barely get 60. This is a game where we're going to have a lot of plays, and it's going to be a lot of pass plays, and that Sam Darnold should hopefully take advantage of that. That's a high number for him. And we're both being pretty optimistic on the over, just because of the fact that we don't think we're going to rely on our running game. We couldn't really rely on our running game.
No one can run the ball in the Lions. They're the best run defense in the NFL, and they have been for a couple of years. They're very tough to run on. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a pass-happy game.
Agreed. And that's why Vegas is making all these numbers high for us on receiving and passing. Jared Goff, 253.
Yeah, I mean, we both took the under, again, for game script reasons. I think that they're going to focus on the run, and I think our defense is gonna, in passing situations, is going to make life hell for him. So I think that he's going to have an under on the 250 number.
I do too. Like you said, we're going to make his life a living hell. They're going to rely on the run a lot more than us. We can confuse him. When we can't get at him is when he kills teams.
Yeah.
We are going to get at him, plus the confusion aspect of it. This might be a game where Jared Goff just flat out struggles, and he has earlier in the year. He's got his stride, but honestly, he's been playing terrible defenses, especially against Dallas. This isn't a defense he's faced by far. It hasn't been even close to a defense he's faced. We're going to confuse him, get after him. I'm not even worried about it, trying to keep him in the pocket. We like other teams, he's not one that rolls out a lot. I don't think he doesn't run the ball very much at all. So I'm not worried. Just get after him, make him throw on the run, make him move. I think that's where we're just too good of a defense for him. He's going to struggle. This isn't the week for him. We both picked the under, and again, we picked the same under overs the second week we've done this. I think we're lockstep on the way we're going to play this game.
Yeah, and there is an avenue. I saw a tweet today actually that said something about the Vikings coming off a bye. Not only the Vikings, but 5-0 teams coming off a bye were incredibly strong. Very unlikely to lose the game. Now, it's not all the time that you're playing a consensus top 5 team coming off the bye in that situation. So, little context there. But if Jared Goff has a couple turnovers, couple interceptions, the Vikings could run away with this game. I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility here.
And I brought this up with Johnny NFL in the last video. Is Montgomery doesn't want to go down, and we're going to be punching at the ball. I'm expecting at least one fumble from Montgomery this week, just because they're going to rely on him pretty heavily. He's going to get a lot of carries, but we're going to be punching at the ball like a lot. And we've caused a lot of turnovers, and we may get a fumble and a couple picks this week. 3 turnovers, we win the game. We win the game.
I just lost my train of thought there, but completely lost it. It's gone. Poof. Gone. You want to pick the game?
Yeah, sure. I've already kind of done it because of previous shows, but yeah, tell me what you're gonna say, man. Or let me say, and we'll save you for last. I
Sure.
said 27-24.
Mhm.
I'm starting to feel a little bit better about it to where I could probably up that number, but I promised myself I would not pick another 2-score win
Mhm.
for this game at least. So I feel 27-24 Vikings pull it out.
I was really close to you right there. I was thinking 27-24, so super
What?
close. Yeah,
Shit.
27-24 with a walk-off field goal from Will the Thrill to seal the game for the Vikings. And I even went on record saying it's going to be a 55-yard field goal. It's going to be a bomb that he's going to make to keep us undefeated.
And he's got a Rudy moment.
Yeah.
Gets carried off the field.
But I just
let's
the
go Will
over
Riker.
under is about 50 points. So I was like somewhere around there, right? Hit the over on this game. I actually if I had to bet though, I think it might hit the under. Don't you? Could you see this game hitting the
That's
under?
a high number. If it was like 47 or something, I'd probably bet the over on it. But 50, that's pretty nuts.
It's maybe like 21-24 Vikings with the last second field goal or something like that.
You're allowed to change.
Yeah.
So, all right,
Just to
24-21.
just to hit the under on that.
A lot of offense, not
Three
because they
touchdowns
go
for Sam
for it on fourth
Darnold.
down a lot. We might stop them, things like that.
That's a good point, actually, is the extended drives, but then that could hurt them. It could give the Vikings the ball and in good field position and give us a chance to score. So
Yeah.
we'll see, man. It's going to be a hell of a game.
But the main thing is that our defense against their offense and who wins that battle wins the game. And, I think O'Connell's still undefeated on tying the turnover battle or winning the turnover battle.
Yep.
Which is crazy good stat for him. So,
all right, buddy. Well, we'll see you guys after the game. We will go on live on Tuesday night.
And I'll be live during this game today at 1:00.
Perfect. Let's get it done, man. Skol.
Skol Vikes.